Hi Instagram, it's Fiona Small here from Young Mum Support Network. Friday live already. Can you believe where are the weeks going? It just, as you blink, Friday is literally here. So we're back every Friday. As you know, we've been doing lives and having guests on, or the team and I will be talking about a range of different stuff relating to motherhood and the highs, the lows, and all that we've been contending with during lockdown. Now, this live, I wanted to let you know that we're going to be discussing a very sensitive topic, which is domestic abuse. And it's one that we've not actually done on our live before. I have a guest joining me by the name of Karita, and we're going to be discussing. Now, I wanted to just let you know, she'll be requesting to go live very soon, that domestic violence is something, or domestic abuse, I should say, is something that many people may not feel comfortable with talking about, or everybody may have their different experiences. On this live, I would like that I ask that everybody exercises sensitivity, especially within the comments. So please be considerate. Thank you. Hi, Sasha, all the way from Atlanta. Thank you. Exercises, sensitivity, because we are touching on quite a delicate subject today. So, Karita, when you're ready, go live with me. Just to give you guys a little background about us, we are a community interest company that's been going 8 years. We currently do work with other charities. We work with a pan-London charity that supports female survivors of domestic violence, and we have a contract with them that we've been working with their women for the past 2 years. We have a three-year contract with them, and we provide support for mothers who have been victims of domestic abuse. So, going live very soon. So thank you everybody who has joined today. Hi Natalie as well. Hey Karita, how are you, my dear?
I'm all right, thanks. And you?
Good, I'm very, very good. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I was just saying in my intro that the topic we're going to be discussing today is a very sensitive one, and I have requested that everybody be respectful in their comments and their views, because this is a topic that people may not understand just what the impact is. I also was elaborating on us as Young Mum Support Network, that we work with women survivors of domestic abuse, and we provide a range of different support for them through a pan-London charity that we've been subcontracted to deliver this work with. So we are very familiar with just how sensitive this topic is, and the impact that it has, not just on the individuals, but everybody else that is around and involved. So I just want to say thank you for coming on this live today. It isn't an easy topic, but I think it's very much one that needs to be spoken about, especially during this pandemic, because as we know, domestic abuse has really increased during the lockdown period. So just tell, for those that are watching, and welcome everybody, thank you for joining us this morning, a bit about yourself, and let's go into who you are.
Well, morning, Fiona. Thank you for having me today. My name's Karita. I'm 25 years old. I'm a mum of two. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, a boy and a girl. And I'm a single mum. I've been a single mum for a long time, even whilst being in a relationship with my children's dad. I felt like a single mum because I still took on all the roles of a single mum. I literally did everything, and it was quite a difficult period, to be honest. But for me, I feel like the abuse started a long time ago, and I think being a black person, being a black woman, I have been taught certain things from when I was younger and how to deal with things. And I don't necessarily feel like they're the best ways to deal with things.
Yes.
Just like thinking things are okay and you're perfectly fine and you're just going to move on from things and you're just going to live your life and things will get better gradually. I feel like coming through the situation that I've been in, my main point is like to focus a lot on my healing.
Yes.
Um, Apart from being a mum, I do like a whole load of things. I decorate balloons as well for events. I managed to set that up sometime last year, and it was inspired by my kids.
Oh,
I decorated for my daughter's first birthday party, and then from there, I just carried on. But I
yes.
think I've always had this like this urge to be successful, like to be educated and to have a good job. I think it's
Amazing.
because of what I saw from my mum.
Yes.
So like that's a very good thing that she left with me, that I need to be able to provide for my kids being a single mum. And I think that was like a lot of my sole focus, especially being with someone who wasn't necessarily supportive in all
Yeah.
the areas of my life.
Mm.
Um, so yeah,
That's
that's a
you.
little bit
Amazing.
about
So
me.
you are also a bit of a mumpreneur. Isn't it amazing how our children really help us to discover some of the new kind of gifts and talents and skills that we didn't even realize
Definitely.
that we actually had? And you think about a first birthday turned you into like a party expert. It's
Yeah,
so amazing when you think about that. But well done to you, because
thank
oftentimes, you
you.
know, it is in our time of what can I do with this, you discover so much. And this is
Yeah.
what I think the beauty of parenthood and motherhood really is. Oh, Natalie's just said Karita is an amazing woman.
Oh, thank you,
And
Natalie.
what you've elaborated on as well, you've said that your mother taught you about being strong. What when you describe being strong, because I think everybody's probably definition of strong is different, because I think we feel strong at different times, and I think our strength, sometimes we only realize, oh my gosh, I came through that, or I must
Hmm.
be, because you don't even see that. When would you say that you really discovered your strength?
Okay, so I discovered my strength during COVID, and I have to just say, like, as difficult as a time this has been for
Mm.
everyone, being on lockdown and such, I can honestly say COVID saved my life,
Wow.
because if it wasn't for us being on lockdown, I don't think I would have had the strength to kind of exit the relationship how I did.
Wow.
Um, I
Mm.
think it was the knowing that, okay, I'm on lockdown, but this person that's my kid's dad is coming in and out. And I was really worried that if, because it was very difficult to get him to listen to me, basically. If I'd
Mm.
asked for something, it's just no, it's his way or the highway. And I didn't want him to keep going out during the lockdown. I know,
Yes.
like, obviously people work and people have jobs, but for me, it was like, okay, you're not a key worker. You don't have a real reason to
You
leave the
don't.
house.
Mm.
It's either we're going to be on lockdown together, or you're going to leave and you're going to go to your house and be on lockdown. And I think it was the fact that he just didn't listen to me and did what he wanted anyway. So he would leave and come back. And I was really scared that I was going to get ill. And because I don't have that much support from my family as
Yeah.
much as I would like to, um, I think I was just really scared that if I was to get ill, what do I do? Because I don't even have a next of kin. Who
Yeah.
are my children going to go to? What's going to happen? And at the time, my mum wasn't even in the country. She was far away. And I was really grateful for that, because she works in the NHS as well. And I just
Okay.
felt like she could have been frontlined. And so I'm thankful that she was there. But then at the same time, her being there also gave me the strength to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. If you're not respecting my space,
Mm.
me and my children's space, if I get ill and I'm having to take care of your kids whilst being ill with COVID, that's a different situation. I've been ill with the flu, with colds. I've had like issues with heart palpitations and all sorts of things go on with me
Yeah.
due to stress.
Yes.
And I just didn't want to be in a situation where I was stuck and I was sick and I couldn't do anything about it. So
Yeah.
I think it was Mother's Day. I felt quite disrespected. He didn't really speak to the kids about Mother's Day or explain to them. It was just a normal day for them, and he left because my son had asked why I was upset.
Yes.
And once he left, I made that decision. Okay, now you've gone again. You're not coming back into my home,
Yeah.
because you're gonna go out with whoever you're with and around whoever you want to be with. I don't want that brought back into my home. And I think
Really.
that's when I really had the strength to disconnect.
Wow. So that was like a key moment. And, like life, key events are very significant in life. I think everybody has their threshold, everybody has their tolerance and that line. And I think, like you've described, and what a better day to say, actually, hello, it's Mother's Day. Hello, hello,
Yeah,
hello, mother of
no,
two children. If ever
you
there's a
know,
time to say, I've got to draw a line, it's today. So well done
yeah,
to you, because
thank
you
you.
probably realize, because sometimes it's about realizing the self-worth, but also the responsibility to those children. And what I'm hearing you say is that when your son asked why his mother was upset and his dad then got annoyed and left, you were like, well, hang on a minute, he's just asking why is mummy upset, and your son's in a right to be concerned for his mother. So in one of the things that I know, especially when it comes to that line, once you've drawn it, and like you said, that's where you found your strength, it's the time to kind of looking at the rebuilding. So just describe to everybody, and welcome everyone who has joined. Just want to let you know that we are discussing a very sensitive topic, so please exercise caution in any of your comments that you are going to be posting. And I just want to say thank you. Welcome Karita again for being so bold and brave and open, for sharing her journey.
Thank you.
So describe to us now, Karita, what your journey is been now, because I from what I've understood, and even with the conversations that we've had, you're now on your own personal healing journey, but you've also had to go through the process, or should I say still going through the process of that. Elaborate a little bit on that for me.
So, like I said to you before, like with abuse, it starts from a long time ago. And I elaborate on the word abuse because it puts everything into different categories. You've got the emotional side, you've got the
Yes.
sexual side, you've got the physical side, and you've got the mental side. And like I said, it started a long time ago, and my doctor realized that I was actually postnatally depressed. But then I
Yes.
came to a realization it was due to my social circumstances rather than me being chemically depressed. I was always told that I'm strong. I had like moments where I was suicidal and ready to end my life, but I think my children kept me going,
Yeah.
and I didn't recognize probably until I left, and I felt like, okay, you need to find some kind of way of strengthening yourself and like becoming better for yourself and your children.
Yeah.
And I knew a lot about meditation and prayer and just like trying to heal myself. So I think literally the day after he left, the Sunday, the Monday, I started meditating and I tried to get the kids involved just to try and teach my kids that even when you do feel low, you can get yourself out of this place. Like I
Amazing.
started to open them up to more about prayer because I've not exactly always had like a brilliant relationship with God and things like that. So now
Mm.
I'm trying to teach them to pray a lot more and just give their worries and their angst to God. And
Yeah.
I think it was the meditation that really helped my son because whenever he felt frustrated with something, he would just be like, I'm breathing, I'm breathing. And
Brilliant.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I started, and I think with me, all throughout my life, I've just had a lot of divine guidance without actually realizing. And sometimes
Mm.
it's like people are placed into your life without recognizing. I because of what happened, obviously I can't really speak much about it because it's in the hands of the
Yes.
law at the moment. But
Mm.
I ended up doing something called the Freedom Program,
Yes.
and it's hosted by a lady called Nadine, and she's such a lovely lady. And it kind of, when I entered the course, I
Mm.
recognized that some of the things she was teaching, I was already trying to self-help, like watching videos on YouTube and trying to understand things and trying to
Yes.
understand narcissism and covert narcissism and just like the dominator and what they're like and what it's like to live with them.
Yes.
So she kind of changed the Freedom Program a bit to suit her audience and how things helped her. And it
Wow.
was a lot of affirmations and speaking
Mm.
into yourself. And that's where like I felt like, okay, the guidance has started. And I just felt really accepted into the group, even though it's a different group of loads of women. And we
Mm.
all kind of connected and we would go into breakout rooms and she'd explain everything to us. So that's when I started to recognize, okay, this is what I've been feeling, but
Yeah.
she's putting names to it. Then
Mm.
one day she posted in our WhatsApp group, and she posted a link to something called All Girls Rock.
Yes.
And when I
Amazing.
feel like connected to someone, I kind of like take them as a bit of a mum, and I'm just like,
Oh.
okay, I'm gonna listen to whatever it is you have to tell me. And I clicked on the link, and I was really surprised. There was a group
Mm.
of ladies, and they were so accepting, so loving, and so it's a group where it's for survivors of domestic violence and abuse, and they basically, what happens is every week someone, if they feel compelled to, they share a bit about themselves or their story, and
Mm.
then we respond from what we hear and offer encouragement and guidance and whatever we feel is needed. And
Mm.
obviously I started a podcast on this page on Mother's Land, and I think I went into it wanting to show people my healing journey and explain like what's been going on, talk a bit about my backstory and how I'm moving through it. But then I felt like I was doing the work, and I felt like I was healing, and I feel like, yeah, I'm getting somewhere, I'm learning some lessons, but it was very quick. It was like me, I just like to think ahead rather than
Yes.
take my time. And I just feel like if I'm going to do something, I need to get there really soon. I need to think of the
Do
end.
it. Just
But
do it.
on Monday I shared with them, and I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know. I just knew that I wanted to share for whatever reason. And they, I can't explain to you how I felt in the group, because
Mm.
it was like they really broke things down to me, and they kind of spoke to me and they asked me certain questions like why I wasn't emotional and why I wasn't attached to like my feelings. And it then
Yeah.
brought me back to realization, because I've been doing counseling for over a year. I was really lucky and blessed to meet a black counselor through
Yeah.
IAPT.
Yes.
And she kind of said the same thing to me. I just read off things like a shopping list, and I'm not really connected to my emotions.
Okay.
Um, but all the people that have been supportive towards me, it's like they're making me realize that, okay,
Mm.
I want to do the work and I want to do the healing, but I'm not allowing myself to really go through the emotions, because I just feel like, okay, now he's gone, you have to be strong. You can't let your kids see you crying anymore. You can't let them see you down anymore. And like, I can't explain to you how All Girls Rock, they really helped me on Monday, and they really let me know that it's okay to slow down and just
Mm.
take your time and sit with your feelings, sit with your emotions. So this week I kind of took a little bit of a break of social media,
Yeah. Good.
and I've just been like reflecting and just like taking myself back to like my inner child and just doing playful things and drawing and just being more creative.
Yeah.
But they're a wonderful group of ladies. Like, I can't explain to you every single one of them. What they said to me that day, it's like, I don't think I ever cried that much in my life before.
Got
Um,
it all out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it felt like I was somebody's child, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Um, and it's like they really understood where I was coming from. Like
Mm.
when I explained things to them, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just an overwhelming feeling of love when you're in the
Wow.
group.
Wow.
Um,
And it's so important to feel that you have a space. And big shout out to All Girls Rock for what you've created and enabled to happen and facilitate for others,
yeah.
especially like Karita, because, you know, oftentimes, like you said, you've been given the opportunity to sit with your feelings. You've been given the opportunity to cry. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one that has gone through your situation, and you know the journey that you've been on, and to be able to have a realization to say, actually, I've disattached myself from the whole emotional aspect of it, because all I've been taught is you have to be strong, you're strong, or you've been told that you're strong, and sometimes you feel that you have to live up to that. So can't let my kids see me cry, can't let me. Why not? Why not let your children see you cry? It is an emotion. They cry. I'm sure they
Yeah,
cry. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And it's important that you are allowed to give yourself that space to grieve what's happened in the past, to grieve where the journey that you're currently now on, and just the awakening. Because what will sometimes happen is you go through different emotions of feeling guilty, feeling like, you know, you want to beat yourself up. Why did I make that happen? How could I be so stupid? You know, all these kind of different little things start to just go around in the mind. So what you're doing now by giving yourself that space to just allow for every single one of these emotions and feelings to really pass through, I would say. And you mentioned about journaling and affirmations. Keep them up, write them down. Even sometimes we can't even verbalize what we're feeling, or we don't have the words, but you see, sometimes when you're able to just put your pen to paper,
yeah.
and just write it down, it can really make such a difference. And you'll look at your journal, you'll be writing, and you see, this time next year when you pick it up, you'll laugh and be like, oh my goodness, look where I was, or
Yeah.
look how far I've come. And this is the power of journaling, because it really, it gives you the opportunity to be like, wow, you know,
yeah.
this is the space that I was in. And then you can then pass it on to others to say, when you have, because you've started your podcast now, and I'm sure there's a wealth of women who have gone through different stuff. And even when we facilitate groups, when we were delivering groups at the Women's Centre, the power of hearing somebody else's story and where they've come through, and then another person, because the thing that whole peer support, especially with what you've got with the All Girls Rock group, it really does open up, wow, I'm not alone, or how I was feeling, so was she. And oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like my story. Because oftentimes you feel like, because we're quite reserved people and we don't want people to judge us, we won't talk. And because of that, it's all here. But when you do open up and you hear, and it's like the Me Too movement, and somebody says, oh yeah, that happened to me, and me too. You're like, oh wow, I'm not that different from others. Do you understand? It's just that everybody has their different way of, I suppose, expressing it, and finding these places to share and be open is so important. So about the podcast, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? I know you said you've only recorded one series.
So basically, the podcast is called A Mother's Land. It's about my journey, really, and I wanted to show it exactly from where it started from, because I just have a really big thing about generational cycles, or curses, as some people might call them. And I feel like for me, with my generational cycle, it felt like a lot of the things that I've been through,
yes,
I've only, like, I knew that my mum had been through some things when she was younger. I didn't understand exactly how it played into it with me. But when I was growing up, my mum didn't really speak to me about relationships or men or even sex or things like that. It was very awkward for her because of what she had been through.
yes.
And then when I started to speak to her about, obviously she's a lot more reserved, and she's not like me, and she's how I, in a sense, don't want to be. I'm not taking away from her that she's not a bad person. I love my mum completely, but I just feel like if she had allowed herself to deal with her situations differently, she would have been able to guide me differently. And that's not to say I'm not blaming her for the decisions I made, because I chose to leave home at a young age, and I didn't understand really what I was getting myself into, which is how I actually met my children's dad.
Yes.
And I feel like if she had educated me in a certain way, I would have recognized and probably knew what I was worth and understood. So I, like I said, it's about my journey. My first episode is called Mummy Issues, and it just speaks about the breakdown within, like, the relationship of myself and my mum. I didn't live with my mum from a young age, and then I came back to live with her. And my mother that I knew was really my grandmother and the women that I had around me, because I lived in Ghana. And so the next episode, which will be coming soon, is called Daddy Issues.
Yes.
And then it will, like, carry on from there. And I will be having guests on the show, and people that relate to me and understand things, and, like, have similar journeys in a sense. And even though it's called A Mother's Land, it's not just for mothers, because I feel like there's a lot of things that people can hear that will benefit them in their day-to-day lives, about their relationships with people around them and how they deal with things. So yeah, that's
fantastic. And it sounds like, I mean, even when you think about your healing journey, and hello and welcome to everyone that has joined this live, you see, healing takes place in a very different ways, you know, different shapes and form. And even by you birthing your podcast and being able to talk about mummy issues, daddy issues. The world is made up of so many complexities, especially us as human beings. Our foundation in terms of our early years and the start that we had in life is who we become as adults. It's what shapes us. It's what shapes us into womanhood. It's what shapes men into manhood. It's really, really fundamentally important to, I sometimes go back and revisit those places because, you know, as adults, sometimes you might be thinking, well, where did this come from? Or why do I feel like this? Or where is this come? And it's only when you look back or you have certain conversations, even if it's with an auntie or like you've been having with your mother and seeing, oh wow, I've kind of mirrored what mummy did, but I didn't even realize because nobody spoke about this. And it's so important, especially for us that are raising the future generation, that we do so much more better than the generation before us.
Yeah.
You know, no disrespect to them because they did what they knew how, yeah, and they did what they did with the tools that they had. But what we have now, we've got podcasts, we've got Instagram lives, we've got YouTube, we've got, I mean, literally the world is our oyster right now in terms of the reach and the communication and how we can really start to self heal. And that is so important. I just want to like round off by saying that, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I really look forward to hearing more about what you're going to do with the podcast. Well, I believe you, there's a book inside of you, and I look forward to reading that book as well. I think it's
Thank
really,
you for putting it there.
definitely. And I think what you want to also start to begin to do for you, because you've given yourself this time and this space to heal, is stay connected. You've got your community with All Girls Rock. Stay connected. And I want to say to everybody on this live right now, if you are going through any form of abuse, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, verbal, I think it's really, really important that you do speak out about it. And what I'm going to ask Karita to do is just to recommend some organisations that maybe individuals can plug into to get help from.
Okay, thank you, Fiona. So I'm going to start off by saying that for me, I didn't recognize that I was supported in so many different ways. I think I just thought about physical support with my kids, but in reality, I was supported in so many different ways. I sought help with counseling.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was really lucky to meet a counselor called Dawn Estefan, and she was just amazing and showed me so many different things. She also introduced me to an organization called Our Naked Truths, where they do live art therapy. It's live nude art therapy, but it's really amazing, and it's an amazing space. They have like online classes. There's so many different things. They're also fundraising at the moment to be able to provide counselling to a certain amount of Black women every month, and also non-binary Black women too. So we've got counselling. Just seek out for counselling as soon as you feel like there's anything going on in your head that's too much. Seek counselling. There's Our Naked Truths. I spoke to Solace Women's Aid when I was going through my situation, and they call you every week to check up on you. I'm sure there's loads of organisations just like yourself who support women that are survivors of domestic abuse, and just don't feel scared to seek that help. Don't feel like you're going to be blamed or shut down, because those feelings will come naturally anyway, regardless of what you do. But for me, I'd just say to any female, do not feel like you have to shrink yourself to fit into any man's heart. And I'm going to repeat it. Do not feel like you have to shrink yourself to fit into any man's heart, no matter who it is, because you are worthy of more than being small or being belittled or being told that you can't have career success, being told that you're not a good mum. There's so much more out there for you to seek, and it's just, once you recognize that you don't have to be stuck in a situation, there is so much more you can do with yourself. Like I spoke about earlier on, there was All Girls Rock, who I'm with them every Monday, and I don't think I'm ever going to leave them because they're just amazing. and then
Yes.
also the Freedom program, which you can get through the Women's Centre as well. There are so many organizations, so I just don't want anyone to feel stuck or scared, or even if it's a friend of
Mm.
yours. I had so many friends that literally, after I got out of the situation, came to me and told me, like, look, Karita, I prayed for you to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
And I've had my friends cry because of how they saw me at a point and how I changed and how I
Yes.
disconnected myself from so many people. So
Mm.
when you are going through things, try not to cut yourself off. Try to speak to people. I've always spoken, but
Yes.
at times I just like kind of stepped back and just fell within my own shell.
Yeah.
And just don't do that. Just speak, seek your help, and just, yeah, just
Amazing. Well
thank
done. I
you.
mean, like I said, I'm really, really grateful for you to be, to have come on today, this morning, and to just been so open and transparent about everything that's gone on. And I look forward to seeing what's next for you, because you sound like a woman who is going through the emotions, the journey, and is coming through the other end of something. Yes, we know that situations are still happening because it's in the hands of the law. However, you are still finding yourself. You're still raising your two children and ensuring that you're giving them what it is that they need. Another organisation I'd like to recommend is Advance. They're a charity that works with women survivors of domestic abuse, and we also work very closely with them as well. But if you do need more information, definitely either visit our website or send a DM on our message. I'm going to tag Karita's Motherland podcast on here as well. So if you want to reach out directly to her, please do so. Also, All Girls Rock, if you're interested in joining their Monday group, I'll tag them as well. Listen, we need to really communicate where people can get access to resources, tangible
Definitely.
resources that they can engage with easily. They can tap a button and just find their spaces. And like Karita said, speak out, or just, ask for help. Help is out there, and there are organisations doing some amazing work in this space to ensure that women like Karita and many others are safe and protected. So just want to say thank everybody for watching and tuning in. We are live every Friday with a variety of different topics. And I just want to say that this is the very first time that we have touched on domestic abuse on a live. So thank you, Karita, for
Wow.
allowing this to happen as well. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
weekend and stay connected.
All right.
See you
Take care,
later.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.